just weeks ago, reform was riding high in the opinion polls. People were whispering that Nigel Farage is going to be the next prime minister. In fact, I had a conversation with someone who said, unless there is some sort of internal implosion, Nigel Farage's destiny is to head into number 10. Now, all that may very well still be the case, but recently there was that implosion where the chairman, Zia Yusuf, resigned from the party. In a very sort of dramatic turn of events, even though days prior he had been sort of talking about how great Nigel Farage was, he recently tweeted saying that he was done with the party. He didn't think it was a good use of his time to be trying to help Reform UK become the next government. This is really interesting for a number of different reasons. One is that Reform UK is doing very well right now. Zia Yusuf, who everyone acknowledges was instrumental to the success of Reform in the local elections, just saw, I mean, even if you hate Reform, you have to admit it was a seismic win. They won local councils, mayoral elections. So the traction and the momentum really is with Reform right now. We've often said that Keir Starmer doesn't seem like he has an idea really in terms of what he's doing. Kemi Badenoch is struggling still to really get in front of the British people in a way that they'll take us seriously. Ed Davey, the leader of the Liberal Democrats, unfortunately, no one takes Ed Davey seriously. Every single week he stands up at PMQs, talks about Donald Trump, sits down. It's kind of the same old, same old. So the party that really has any sort of rizz, any sort of attention, any sort of momentum is Reform, right? So if that's the case, why then would the chairman randomly resign and say that there's no point in being here anymore? Something else must be going on. It can't just be that he just saw the light and decided that actually, I could do better things with my time. Clearly something's happened. Now, media reports are saying what's happened is there's been a sort of burqa row because a new MP, I won't even say her name because I think it's a waste of time, a new Reform MP, her first questions at PMQs was to stand up and ask the Prime Minister, should we ban the burqa? Now, Zia Yusuf is a practicing Muslim, and he's called publicly that question dumb. Now, is that the reason? Again, I don't know. I think there's a few things going on here. One is, clearly, he found that question offensive. But the other issue is, every single party that Nigel Farage is in charge of, it seems as though there's only really space for one ego. Rupert Lowe left. Of course, Zia Yusuf has now left. And when it's hard to identify one main reason for this, you have to look at someone's pattern. And every single party Nigel Farage has ever been at the helm of, at some stage, there is some implosion, people leave, there's bickering, there's infighting. He doesn't seem able to manage multiple stars. There's only really space for one person, and that appears to be Nigel Farage. Now, this resignation, of course, caught everyone by surprise because no one expected it. But it does pose some serious questions, which I think we have to answer. Those key questions are, does Zia Yusuf's exit show that there are some serious ideological rifts within Reform, especially when it comes to cultural issues? I imagine there might be people like him, sort of conservatives who maybe don't think there's much going on with Kemi Badenoch, and so are willing to give Reform a punt. But of course, these conservatives aren't racist. These conservatives maybe aren't trying to have conversations about culture wars all the time or talk about banning burqas. And so those people, I mean, where do they live? If this does become the official policy for Reform, you have a whole group of moderate conservatives that, quite frankly, can't be there. If that's the case, then of course Reform loses a core demographic, which are basically the factors, if you like, that were once conservatives but move into him. That poses a serious issue in the long term. The other big issue, of course, is about public perception. When you are playing a game where it's a 4-year game, the next general election, the earliest it can be is in 4 years. So it's a long game here. How you manage the public persona, your public persona and your public image is really important. If, as it appears to be the case, a narrative starts forming, which is that you can't manage a party of 5 people. You can't manage a party where there's more than one star sort of person, then this is a big issue, because how are you going to be prime minister? I mean, in any how can anyone take you seriously if you can't even manage 5 egos, right? What's going to happen when you have 150 MPs or 200 MPs? Do you see the point? There's a real question here about whether Nigel Farage has that management ability. Yes, he's a formidable campaigner. You have to admit that, whether you love the man or love him. But this idea of, can he manage people, that's still yet to be seen. And again, Zia Yusuf's departure seems to show that he can't. Of course, we've seen Rupert Lowe, Zia Yusuf. Who's next? Is this a pattern? That's going to become an issue in the years to come. And there is another sort of third issue, which is about timing. And I know that seems a bit sort of odd. But again, we've spoken about this before. When it comes to media campaigns, which is essentially what Reform are currently on, the timing is everything. When we say timing, it means you have to peak at the right times, right? So at the start, you want to attract some credible people that can show that your party is a serious party of government. Announce some policy to show people that you're interested in actually governing, right? And policies. But you have to do it well. So if at the start, if right now people are quitting left, right, and center, there's a problem here, right? You're going to start losing steam. You're going to be trying to find someone new, bring someone back on, and so the narrative around you becomes you're someone who can't hold, you can't hold people together. If all this is happening now, it means Nigel Farage can't really get to where he wants to get to, which is what he did, which was actually quite good. I saw challenging Keir Starmer to a debate. What he's doing there is almost showing that, hey, listen, I'm equal to the Prime Minister. We can have this back and forth. But of course, that falls flat on his face, because the Prime Minister can say back, mate, you got 5 MPs. You can't even keep them in place. And then your chairman is also resigning. You can't even manage your own small, tiny group. Don't talk about debating me. Don't talk about aspirations for higher office. You're clearly not somebody who has sort of staying power. Now, I've always said it is a marathon, not a sprint, this race, especially when it comes to the path that Reform's on. And the truth of the matter is, it's very likely that if these kind of things keep happening, where top officials or members who are in leadership in the organization keep quitting, very quickly people will start asking questions of, is this man, does he have the kind of temperament, does he have the core stuff, if you like, that means he can lead? And the answer for a lot of people will be no. So we'll keep watching this, because of course this does really well for Kemi Badenoch. She can say, listen, it's not a serious party, we're the serious party. And of course, for Labour, they're super happy, because of course, Reform was threatening a lot of their Red Wall voters. We're going to keep following the story, because I suspect it's not over yet. He bowed out in a very dramatic way, and I think there's more things coming, but we'll let you know when that happens. Now, if you enjoyed this video, please do hit the subscribe button, turn your notification bell on so you're first to find out when we have more videos like this. And of course, let me know what you think in the comment section. Can Nigel Farage do it? Do you think he could take his party from... I mean, let's be frank. They're doing well, but there's still they're a drop in the ocean. Could they at some stage mount a credible challenge? Let me know what you think in the comment section.